Hi everyone, just checking in again. One change today, unfortunately, our CEO Ken Shaw is out sick, so it's going to be myself, Derek Wood, the partner product manager, and our director of marketing, Shaylin Herrick. And we're going to be doing this presentation, so if you're here to see Ken, we apologize, but we'll get through all the good stuff for the program.
And he should be available next week, so please do check in with your representatives here at SOS, and they can get you login information for next week if you do have any questions, especially for Ken, and you want to see his presentation.
All right, and now we're just going to wait just one more minute. Looks like everyone's almost here, and we'll get going.
Hey everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Shaylin Herrick. I'm the Director of Marketing for Business Products for SOS. We're going to take you through a little introduction to the industry and SOS. We've been around since 2001. We have a history of, like many tech startups, being started in a dorm room. So ours was in Melbourne, Australia. And we moved to the United States. We're headquartered in Los Angeles in 2006. And we have been awarded the PCMag Editor's Choice Award for online backup 4 times during that time that we've been in business. And we've grown to have over 500,000 customers and over 500 VAR partners. So we're just going to give you a little bit more history on us. If you want to skip to the next slide. A little bit more on us and about the industry. So SOS Online Backup, like I said, we've really been an industry leader since 2006. We've won many awards. We've been recommended by the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and have continued to improve our products over that time. And the most recent iteration of improvement is the SOS Server Save product, which I believe is probably what you're all here to see today. And it's based on our award-winning version 5 platform, which won us our most recent PCMag Editor's Choice Award in November of last year. So let's talk about why the cloud has been so successful and pervasive in the world, and really is starting to become pervasive in culture. It's an extension of internet bandwidth across the world. You know, we're seeing a huge burst in interest across the world, not just in countries that have had internet bandwidth and successful connectivity for a long time. No longer is interest in the cloud confined to like Australia, Canada, the United States, and Europe. Everywhere is realizing the benefits of the cloud. And another thing that is pushing people towards the cloud is a decrease in hosted storage costs. It's very, very affordable to put your information in the cloud, if not in some cases free. It's very affordable to store large amounts of information in the cloud, which is why the cloud is now as inexpensive or less expensive than tape backup, and certainly much more reliable since it's off-site. And technical sophistication of the population. People understand what the cloud is now. It's not that hard to explain the concept. And we all have a significant increase in size and value of our digital data, not just individuals, but businesses as well. Think about the way you run your business. You're doing it online. You're storing all of your information on your computer, and I'm sure that you certainly think it's wise to back it up somewhere and store it somewhere where you can restore it at any time, no matter what happens to your home or your office or your laptop that's hanging out in your car while you're traveling around and doing work. So IDC confirms that there is a massive adoption underway by business in the near term. And this information is as recent as 2011 and was confirmed by some new stats as recently as November of 2011. 16% of companies surveyed by the IDC are using online backup today. That's not very many. 69% are evaluating it and or planning to use it. That's a lot.
And what we find in the 16% that are using some sort of online backup is this is really just a leveraged or an added evaluation period. So some type of limited implementation, whether it's to convince some other stakeholder in the company that it's actually something that will work in a timely fashion and is actually secure, whether it's convincing themselves, just a more in-depth test. But we still see about 3/4 of the 16% that are using it are planning on increasing the scope of adoption.
We have a question from Miko. For reseller, what's the pricing structure? The pricing structure, you can get all the specs from your partner specialist, but in general, it's based on number of servers that you want to back up and the amount of space that you want to use to back up. And our pricing is bundled with server licenses and with storage space, so they're not separate.
And with the entire program, which we'll be going through in much greater detail. And at the end, we're actually going to go through a demo of the software so you can see a faux branding for our made-up partner, Acme Technologies, and see what their software looks like. And you can see for yourself what yours in turn would appear to be.
Yeah.
So looking again at the data, again going back from slide 1, where we've come from a rather early adoption phase where we have small home offices or consumers, people who have low risks or low costs of moving to new services, and also more of a savviness. Now, we're at a point where online backup has truly become a standard part of every backup solution. We've always boasted online backup as a necessary part of any backup strategy. Most SMBs you go to today have single points of backup, whether it's backup of a single server, single workstation, whatever it is. Or maybe they just do a local backup for all their systems. Maybe they just do an off-site backup. Mostly not the latter, but it's relatively limited and not a true solution from an end-to-end coverage. You're not. What do you do for your laptops and workstations? Is it off-site? Is it on-site? How do you truly get available or get data when you need it? And managed backup plans really speak to what IT professionals have been historically, which are risk managers. You take risk management out of the discussion simply because it's a term that people don't like to bring up. It sounds formal. It sounds like more work than you really want to do, but inevitably it's what we're all working on, and it's what we're here about with backup. So a backup solution includes things that are preventative in nature as well as things that are going to help you mitigate the eventual loss of data in each environment. And what we've done with the addition of ServerSafe is we've made ourselves not just a single strategy in your overall backup solution, but we're giving you a end-to-end backup solution through a single vendor. So we used to recommend that our partners use us for their online backup because we have an award-winning cloud. It's the most secure, most redundancy, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we've been voted as the best in backup by PCMag since our version 1 beta had come out in 2006. But now we're adding ServerSafe backup, so now we get the other part of the business where we said, okay, hey, if you want to get an image backup to the cloud, you can certainly do that. You just have to create the image with some other program. Well, now we are that other program, so now you have less vendor relationships to manage, and we're really coming in at a price point that severely undercuts what's pretty market consistent. The stat here at the bottom, and we use a lot of IDC references as they are the unofficial kings of market research, that they're even saying that this 3 to 5x growth that they're looking at really just speaks to the hard costs of services and growth of adoption, but not to the services that back what the overall growth is about, which is the managed service market. No longer is it just a piece of software that you give to a customer, you set it up, and then if it stops working, they call you. It's not a very effective way of going about it. The Harvard Business Review did a review on a similar study that showed that a majority of the businesses that went out of business in the U.S. over the last 5 years wasn't actually directly related to poor economic stability. It was more related to poor risk management services. They didn't have backup solutions or strategies in place. So in these, what should have been rather trivial items to address, a server failing, a desktop failing, these sorts of things happened, and while times were good, they had the cushion enough from the good state of the economy to just compensate for it, just out of pocket. But now that times are a little tougher and you have to be a little more conservative in what you're spending and what you're spending time on, the lack of proper backup strategies really led to the demise of a lot of these businesses. Most of it wasn't just because they weren't making sales.
And just another great stat that we have from IDC, IT budgets dedicated to cloud services are intended to grow really twofold in the next few years. 2010, 1.6% of IT budgets were dedicated to cloud services. By 2014, IDC expects that 3% will be dedicated to cloud services. So they don't sound like big numbers, but they are in fact doubling. Go ahead and go to the next one.
So again, speaking to where the market's going, it's no longer just, I'm going to sell a backup account to somebody. I'm going to sell a lot of backup accounts to a lot of somebodies. It's really providing a true end-to-end total business data protection, business continuity services, some other keywords that you're looking out there for the industry. So you're really looking for simplicity for your customers, and that's what it's all about. IT services have gone through quite a maturing stage this last decade, where we came from primarily, really good hardware, software techs who can do this type of work, and they can fix whatever breaks. They can put some things in order. The maturity we've seen over the last decade is the organization and the documentation behind ongoing preventative services. And SOS Online Backup with the ServerSafe program is quite often the perfect foot-in to doing that. You now have a very simple move into managed backup strategies, and managed backup solutions is probably the most common type of managed service that you could possibly provide somebody. It's something that everyone needs. Everyone needs some sort of backup. It's just a matter of time before data is going to be lost, and what kind of position are you going to be in if you cannot prevent and or react to that loss. So again, we're seeing huge growth in what we're going to have, and our goal of collapsing the RPO to under 30 minutes, which restore point objective, how old is the data we're getting back, is quite ambitious. And right now we have a per request service where we'll actually mount your images in the cloud and host it for $500 a week, and you can use that for access, get some IP directs so you can put your users there. It may be a little slower, but you'll have access to the information while you're rebuilding your hardware locally. Eventually, we're going to be having Cloud Boot as a virtualization service for disaster recovery that will be a standard part of the program. And as we get closer to being able to provide that to you, of course, we'll release those details.
Milko has a question. Will it perform granular and full backup live SQL Server databases, automatically going inside database structure? No need to perform SQL Server backup or dump.
So right now it works based on taking an image of an entire volume. So you would take a volume of where your SQL Server sits, and you can recover your volume as a virtual drive or overwriting an entire drive, and from there you could recover the rest of that. The granular recovery that doesn't require recovering the entire database really is more on the part of Exchange. So with Exchange, which we'll show in the demo here at the end, we'll show you how you can recover simple mail files if you're just looking for attachments, individual mailboxes, or an entire migration of your Exchange server.
And Mike, could you please type in the chat the name of the person that you've been talking to here at SOS? That would be great, thanks. Okay, let's get more into the product and the entire suite of services. So this presentation is really focusing on the right-hand side of the suite of services which are available to SOS resellers. The SOS ServerSave system backs up system data, app data, and file data, and is all accessible through various mobile and remote portals. So for system data, we back up Windows servers, operating systems, and in the future we will be offering Cloud Boot, but not at this exact moment. Back up your app data. This is your SQL servers, SharePoint databases. Exchange, we perform full database and brick level. And file servers that your business may have. It's a very, very clean and concise suite of applications that Derek will take you through here shortly.
So with ServerSave, it's not just coming into buying gigabytes or buying server licenses. Our program is geared to get you up and running in the market as quickly as possible. And one quick question that I'm going to answer, what other languages do you support? We only support English. So features and benefits. So starting on the left, or of course the top left, Exchange backup and granular recovery. So again, an agent that will allow you to recover at the message level, as well as just migrate an entire Exchange server.